job here and explain what you do.
I am the volunteer services manager, and I manage all of our volunteers. So we have child care volunteers. We have a little over 100 child care volunteers right now. We have Cook for Kids teams and creative snack teams. We have about 400 of them. We have enrichment activities where people come in and do arts and crafts or sports and games with the kids. And then we have event volunteers and office volunteers and interns and things like that.
Oh, okay. What did you choose, or how did you choose to pursue this career?
Well, I actually fell in love with the mission first. My background is I used to actually work with kids that were already abused, and when I found a place that was trying to prevent it or get there before it happened, I had never heard of that before. So the mission of the crisis nursery is to end child abuse, neglect, and create strong, healthy families. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a mission that I will stand behind forever. I started here as a child care supervisor, and then I worked very closely with volunteers through that role, and I just loved working with volunteers. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of, the natural progression was to be in this position.
Okay. Can you explain some of the circumstances under which a child would come into this crisis nursery?
Yeah, so it's 100% voluntary for the parent. They define their own crisis, what's going on. A lot of our families are homeless, experiencing poverty, making under $10,000 a year. So really the poorest of Hennepin County. Mm-hmm. And most of them are single parenting. So as you can imagine, single parenting is hard enough, but when you don't have housing, you don't know where your food's coming from, whatever it might be, those are issues that can be very hard. So families come here for kind of like a safe haven for their kids to be while they take care of their adult things, whether they're trying to get out of a domestic or dangerous situation, funeral planning, everything from looking for housing, looking for jobs. If they're sick, they need doctor appointments or chemo or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. We're a safe place for the kids to be while they're doing those things.
Okay. What does the daily schedule typically look like for a kid?
For a kid? Well, they get up in the morning. Everyone has their own, well, not everyone has their own bedroom, but the kids sleep overnight. We get them up in the morning, brush their hair, teeth, all that. They wear our clothes when they're here, so they get to pick out their outfits, which is fun for the girls. The boys don't really care. And then they go to breakfast. After breakfast, we have a little bit of free time. Sometimes we have enrichment activities come in and do the sports and games or arts and crafts, like I said. Then we have snack. And then we have another, after snack, opportunity for people to come in and do things with the kids. Then lunch, and then after lunch they nap for a couple hours. And then after nap we have snack again. They eat 6 times a day, so they eat quite a bit here. And then after snack there's another enrichment time. And then we eat dinner. Then after dinner we do discharge baths where the kids that are leaving the next day all get a bath before they go home. And it's kind of a wind down time. So we like play board games, read, do kind of quiet stuff. Sometimes we have really energetic kids and we'll do Olympics in the hallways to get them worn out a little bit. Yeah. And then they go to bed, and we have an adult in their bedroom that's reading to them or rocking them until they fall asleep. And then through the night they're checked on every 15 minutes when they're sleeping, just to make sure they're okay.
Okay. Can you describe how a kid at the crisis nursery usually acts when just coming into?
Yeah, so the kids are all 6 and under, so they're young, they're little ones, and separation anxiety is pretty high. Some of them it's their first time away from their parent. Yeah. So a lot of times that can be, actually when the parent brings them in and we take them into the children's services area, that separation is hard. And then when they're here in general, because they're so little and they don't always have words for their feelings, there are some behaviors that come out that are kind of trying to tell us how they're feeling, whether it's mad or sad or miss mom or whatever, but it's usually through behavior. So we just kind of have to figure that out and help them with their words and teach them words for those feelings.
Yeah. How do the enrichment activities help the kids?
Well, one thing is that the kids all day when they're here, they're with the same teachers throughout the shift. So it brings new energy in. One, so when you guys come in, someone new that they get to play with, and whether you do arts and crafts or stuff in the gym, it just gives them a time to do something different than what they're doing throughout the day. And if you bring in, and a lot of people bring in really enriching things that the kids learn stuff from, or they've never done before.
Yeah.
So
That was really fun to see when we did that. Do you know how many kids typically come in a year to this crisis nursery?
that's a good question. We have 18 kids a day. We have up to 18 kids a day. And we serve around 2,500 a year.
Wow.
So we're usually full every day by about 10 a.m., which is unfortunate because obviously we don't want families in crisis, but we end up turning away some families because we don't have the room. So,
how many staff do you usually have here?
well, the ratio is 4 to 1, so 4 kids to 1 staff, and then we try to have a child care volunteer in each group too, so that there's a couple adults in their groups. But all together we have, and we have staff overnight too. The ratio goes to 7 to 1 once the kids are asleep, so we have 3 overnight staff. So all together we have, I want to say we have about 65 employees total, and the majority of those, probably 50 or so of those, are child care providers.
Is this a non-profit organization?
Yes.
And
We're actually private, so we get a little bit of money from the county, but otherwise we're not government funded at all, so we're a United Way partner, and otherwise we just get our funding from private donations like individuals, corporations, family foundations.
okay. And how do you think the crisis nursery benefits the community?
Well, we actually fit a need out there that no one else is really doing. There's other crisis nurseries out there for people to bring their children to in times of stress, crisis. No one wakes up in the morning and thinks, I want to hurt my kid.
Yeah.
It's always because of stress, and you're at the end of your rope, and you don't know, maybe you don't know child development, and you don't know why your baby's crying all the time. You don't know what to do. It gets really stressful. So we're a safe place to bring kids, but also, since we're residential and the kids actually stay on site, the parent can see where they're eating, where they're sleeping, who they're working with, and that builds trust.
Yeah.
A lot of, there are other crisis nurseries, but they're foster based, so the kids are sent out to home, so the parent doesn't know where they're going. So that is the difference between us and other ones. We are the only one like us in Minnesota right now, and one of about 20 in the nation.
Wow. Okay. That's it.
All right.
Thank you.